iRock Radio, the world headquarters of rock. It is Mike Karolyi here in Studio 64 with Dead Sara. So once again, thank you for spending some time with us and coming to Connecticut to perform and talk and get caught up. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about the timeline of performances in Connecticut. So you did the Webster Theater show with Puddle of Mud back in whatever year.
Oh, that was the first time anyone ever chanted our name. Do you guys remember that? It's the first time any fans were like, Dead Sara. It was the first time that ever happened. Wow. It was at that show. I remember I was terrified to go out because they knew us. And I didn't want to.
I would think that'd be welcoming, not terrifying.
I was intimidated. Everyone was screaming Dead Sara. I was like, what?
I remember something else happened, and I can't remember what it was. It was on stage
at the Webster in Hartford with Puddle of Mud.
Reg
I remember before the show, you asked me if we played Rage Against the Machine at WCCC. I'm like, yeah, we gave you a list of songs, and then you were planning on doing Killing in the Name of as the encore. Mm-hmm. And you went off, and then you didn't come back out and do it.
Really?
Yeah. And I asked you guys afterwards, well, I thought you were going to do that song. And you said, well, I don't know. They didn't bring us back out, or the lights came on or something, and you didn't do it. But I remember it seemed like maybe that was the start of considering to do that live. I don't know.
Probably,
yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't
what made you think of doing that song from that band in your live set? How did that get in there?
Fuck, I have no idea.
I think
you could swear, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think it was kind of like a nod to LA crew and just our teenage angst. I don't know.
And it's just one hell of a fun song to play.
Yeah.
And just because it's instant energy from the crowds. Mm-hmm. Usually we'll whip it out with does the crowd deserve it? You know what I mean? If they're just standing there, we won't play it, you know? But that obviously wasn't the case at Webster Hall, so I'm trying to remember exactly what happened at the end. I remember running outside after. Right after the show, I was outside.
Well, it's very short time. You can be outside at that theater. Yeah, you just go down the steps.
I was literally out there, yeah. I just remember that.
All right, so, and then we have the big gig with WCCC, but it's crazy because these shows were 6 years ago.
That's
6
so
years
weird.
have gone by, which is kind of blows my mind.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I know, right? Time should just stop, right?
Yeah.
But it hasn't. But you're on this current tour in support of a new EP. Beyond this, because you only got, maybe another month or so, give or take. What are your touring plans beyond this tour, 2019 or whatever it may be?
Nothing planned just yet, but we're looking at some stuff. You know.
All right, which would you prefer, headlining tour or direct support to somebody?
Either.
I'd say direct support in Europe.
Yeah. Down for that.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Have you played Europe? You've played England.
Mm-hmm. UK.
It might be different.
It is, but I would say Europe proper.
Mainland.
Because it is technically.
So who would you want to tour with if you could choose? I mean, you've toured with some cool bands so far, Muse and Offspring, and
There's an artist called Mark Wallach, and I think we all would really love to.
Insanely talented.
Yeah, he's so good.
Insanely
I think we would
cool.
love to open for him. Yeah.
He plays everything.
His voice is just Fettuccine 1981.
Fettuccine 1981.
All right. So one of the things that drew me to Dead Sara way back, right from the start, was the power of the live performance. You guys together, just every song, whether it's a blues-based song or just a hard rock song or a ballad, there's power in all of it. So how do you, when you're writing a song it could be any of them, whether it's Sorry for It All or Weatherman or any of those, what's the thought process as you're writing and recording those songs? Are you thinking of the live performance that will come along with it? Are you thinking about this is just how it's going to sound as it's released as a single or whatever? What's the thought process in writing songs that then translate with so much power live?
Well, those two songs that you just named were basically written live, so you don't really think about it as how's it going to go over live? Because it's you're literally just writing it in the moment, So it has that edge already. And once we dive into it, the thought process is more wait, we just wrote it. We were playing it a lot harder. Let's play it. Let's okay, now let's hash it out and then play it really fucking hard. You know what I mean? So it's to keep that energy, when it's the spontaneity of it has quite an energy, and usually we record it right away when we're starting to jam stuff. So then when we start breaking it down, sometimes it can kind of lose its, edge and stuff, but it kind of needs that because we're working on parts and stuff. And then I think the only thought process after that is to get it back to where it was at the beginning. And it's tricky, it's very tricky, but that's pretty much it. But it usually goes pretty fast, and it's the best way. I love writing that way the best.
There's something about your songs that really connect your audience, obviously.
Yeah.
I see them singing the lyrics back to you and all that stuff. What riff or lyrics or any part of a song still gets you emotional when you're performing it? Like I've seen you visibly look emotional while you're singing certain songs at certain times. So there's certain lyrics or memories that you have as you're playing them live that still today get you choked up or get you emotional?
To me, it's Radio 1 too. Yeah, that's the song on this current tour that's doing it for me.
So what is it about that song?
I don't know. It's just kind of more like this adolescent type freedom, like anything goes type of whimsical feeling to it, and I think that that's something that we all have, of just like kind of never growing up. And I think that has the world is your oyster type thing, and you could always have that, if you tap into it, and just never let it go. And for some reason it just becomes more emotional to me, singing it sometimes, it really comes out and it really shows, as I'm singing it. And it's like almost reminding myself, and I just love that so much, like being teenagers and just not knowing what the world was. And it was just totally fine that way.
You miss that somewhat today?
Absolutely.
But don't bands have that to some degree? I mean, from a guy that's not in a band.
Absolutely. I think
tour
art in
around,
general
right.
is, that's just like you creating, tomorrow, the next day, you're creating your own life. And I think as Radio 1 too, it's more of like the more the adolescent, type thing, and getting into trouble and stuff, and just having that, like, I don't give a fuck, but at the same time, like, I know, we won't be together anymore and things will change. And, so as I'm singing it, it's kind of like that idea of just like, wow, there was that moment and we got caught up in so many things of quote unquote adulting, it's just stupid to me, you realize years later. And so it just always holds, that song will always hold very dear to my heart, and in that way. So to answer that question.
Dead Sara in Studio 64 with iRock Radio.